Hey, it's Eli Johnson with nerdsofcolor.org. Thank you so much for having me. Firstly,
Yep.
let's get into the beginning of things. Kind of how were you approached to begin composing the music for this project? How did you get involved? Can you give us the backstory on that?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of things, I sent in a reel. I did a demo and I waited for a while. I did some meetings with people and yeah, it's just there was, with anything, there's a waiting game. And then I got a text message from the head music supervisor, Dave Jordan, and it said, "Are you ready to be part of the MCU?" And I'm like, "What?" So
That's got to be like a very like surreal experience to get kind of like a letter like that because I feel like that really, takes your career in different directions, I would imagine. How has the experience been working with something of that scale? Because you're jumping into the Ironheart series and the
Mhm.
film Wakanda Forever, where Ironheart makes her first appearance, was scored by a different producer. So are you sort of following suit with the motifs and some of the themes that they did, or are you allowed to create and just expand and do your own thing?
Yeah, actually, I was kind of given the license to kind of create my own thing. Riri in Wakanda Forever, Riri was more in, the world of Wakanda. Um, and here in Ironheart, she is, it's a continuation. So it's a continuation story wise, but it's a completely new surrounding. It's a new story. It's a new yeah, it's a new set of circumstances for her. So yeah, I was given the opportunity to just kind of start from scratch. Except for there's one moment in episode 3 where I add a little bit of talking drums because which is an instrument that Ludwig Göransson used a lot in Wakanda. Because it was actually in the script. There was an idea that yeah that the writer had to add a little bit of talking drums in this one little moment. So I added just a little bit, just a taste.
All right, episode three, I'm going to be looking out for that
Yeah,
now.
right. Blink and you'll miss it, but it was fun for me. I know it's there.
Absolutely. And kind of on that note, that's a great segue into like my next question, which was, do you sort of look for a particular instrument to sort of embody that character, or is it pretty much a free for all? Because I know that there are certain films and certain scores, like John Williams did with Star Wars and things like that, where certain instruments are sort of assigned to certain characters when they appear on screen. Did you sort of look for opportunities to do things like that, or was it more random and more diverse?
Yeah, I mean, there are some common threads throughout, including a lot of orchestra and things like that. Um, but I would say that, for Riri, I used a lot of bucket drums in moments, because she's in Chicago, is kind of that earthy, raw kind of, Riri, she likes to take scraps and make things out of it. And bucket drums are literally taking, scraps of materials and making music out of it. Um, and then, yeah, for um, Parker slash the Hood, there are some vocals and um, violin motifs that I've used, in addition to some kind of like swaggery synths, depending on where he is in his arc. Um, yeah.
I love that. And so, getting into this project and doing something on this scale, what has been the most educational or like eye-opening experience for you just as a composer? Maybe some things that you tried here that you maybe didn't get to try on other projects as far as, just like the scale of it and like the time and like sort of how everything is composed and put together. What's been a really educational experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was really great just kind of going through knowing there weren't limits. I mean, unless I came across one. But I was really kind of given this freedom to play around with things. Especially in the later episodes. Um there are a lot of weird elements and motifs and just things that I was able to just try out and see. It was like, do you like this? Is this too weird? But they seemed into it. So that was a lot of fun. I had a great time kind of stretching a lot of different muscles. There's orchestral things, there's a lot of kind of techie synth things, because Riri, she's always thinking. That's the thing about her and about her character is that she never stops thinking. For better or for worse. Um And yeah, so there's like, a lot of frenetic moments and percussive things that but yeah, just kind of like embody what's in her head, which is kind of nonstop thought processes about tech, about building, about, her own kind of anxieties and everything like that. Yeah, but then, there are some horror elements, there are some kind of cheeky tongue-in-cheek moments. Um and yeah, just being able to stretch so many muscles in one show. Um was a really great experience.
I love that. And I kind of want to dive into just your process as a composer as well. Who are some of your influences just in the musical sphere, not even just orchestrally, but in the musical sphere? And what are some of those elements that you're like, when I get to do this series, I want to take some of those influences that maybe I don't always get a chance to use that I want to kind of implement in here and kind of see how that works.
Yeah, I mean, before I wrote, I sang. So like my primary instrument was voice. That's what I studied in college. That's what I kind of grew up doing. So I love any opportunity to use vocals. Um, and again, in this show, I use, regular sung vocals, but also a lot of like weird breathing effects and whispers and all of that. So that was really great. I mean, I don't know if you can say these these some of my favorites influenced this particular show, but some of my favorites in terms of film music are like Thomas Newman, and I also love like Daniel Pemberton and Nick Britell and a lot of great people. Laura Cartman. There's just a lot of fun and fresh ideas coming out of the realm, especially in on the TV side. Um, I think I don't know, there's a lot of play to be had.
Absolutely. And so in that similar instance, when you're dealing with, like a show like this in this brand new territory, can you give us a story of maybe like one of the harder motifs that you kind of like came up with, or one of the themes that you kind of like had to take a little more time and kind of like, I want to make sure this is just perfect. Kind of walk us through one of those processes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like out of all of them, um, hmm, when does this air?
After the fact.
After the show is done.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so I can use certain words.
I think we got the all clear on that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, the theme for Mephisto took a couple of shots. Again, just because it's such a large scale character, and yeah, just kind of finding that balance between kind of pagan grunting and gothic orchestra. Wanting to keep it new, but still kind of, interesting enough to fit in a modern show.
Amazing. And I'm definitely just, that's going to be one to look forward to for
Yeah.
sure. And in that similar vein, I think, what would you say if you could kind of describe the score in just like 3 words? How would you do that to somebody who kind of like wanted to know what to expect, or, how would you describe it in 3 words?
I guess I would describe it as uh hmm. I guess I'd describe it as techie, as um fun, because I think there are some moments of like fun and levity that are to be had in the score. Um and then um whew. And then I would say it's eerie. Yeah.
I love that. That's a fascinating combination.
Yeah,
I really like
yeah.
that. I really like that. And so just kind of in closing, this is your brand new foray into the series with that character, and your score is kind of going to be attached basically to that character and that theme. Is there anything what is like your most proud aspect that you're able to flesh out of the thing? When you look at the entire score at each episode, you're like, I really achieved what I set out to do. What was it that you wanted to set out to do?
Yeah, I mean, again, there are a lot of really fun moments for me. I think when Riri is coming out of the elevator, and she does like the whole elevator challenge in the first episode. Um, it was a lot of fun. Like the first 15 minutes of episode 5 are huge. So I just got to like, kind of yell at the top of my lungs for 15 minutes, which was fun. And then yeah, and then a lot of the kind of weird, creepy stuff in episode 6, I think, were some of my most joyful moments.
Absolutely. I love that. Congratulations on this massive foray into the MCU. It's been awesome to spend some time with you and to kind of discuss everything Ironheart. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank
Into
you.
the lectures, fanboys, professional artists, and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock life, comics, movies, and TV. Yeah, pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this.